Have you ever tried tracking Bruce Lee's movements with your eyes? If you blink, you'll miss it completely. The martial arts world has never seen anyone faster. His punches traveled in the blink of an eye. His kicks struck like lightning. His one-inch punch generated power that seemed to defy physics. Yet here's the strange part. The man who taught him everything, the legendary IP Man, once made a claim that sounded impossible. He said he could freeze Bruce Lee cold using nothing more than a single finger. No defensive moves, no fancy footwork, just one finger, and the dragon would stop in his tracks. Was this genuine skill or simply arrogant boasting? Perhaps it was Wing Chun's most guarded secret, hidden from outsiders for generations. For many years, martial arts historians treated this story as pure legend, but then something changed. Rare training footage from decades ago surfaced. Former students who attended IP Man's private sessions came forward with their accounts. The question remains: did IP Man truly possess this supernatural ability, or did his students exaggerate over the years? Keep watching to discover what actually took place during those closed-door training sessions. What happened on that rooftop in Hong Kong during 1954? Picture a young Bruce Lee, already famous for dominating street fights and underground matches, climbing 5 stories to a small dojo on Argyle Street. The room smelled of burning incense, sweat, and tiger balm. 10 students stood motionless around a wooden training dummy. IP Man, then 61 years old, barely 5'4", weighing around 120 pounds, wearing wire-rimmed glasses and a simple white traditional suit, sat calmly drinking tea. He looked more like a quiet office worker than a martial arts master. Bruce walked in confidently, cracked his knuckles, and announced he wanted to test the old master's skills. IP Man simply raised one finger and whispered a single word: "Come." Nobody captured this moment on camera. No photographs exist, but 6 witnesses watched everything unfold, and they all described the exact same sequence until their final days. What if the greatest fighter in history met his match in under 30 seconds, defeated by an elderly man who never even bothered to stand up? Here's what actually occurred. Hawkins Chung, who grew up with Bruce and trained alongside him, shared his memories in a 1998 interview with Inside Kung Fu magazine. He described Bruce charging forward with everything he had: boxing punches, Wing Chun chain strikes, even a low kick borrowed from Filipino martial arts. IP Man remained seated throughout. One finger made contact with Bruce's wrist, redirected his momentum, and suddenly Bruce lost his balance completely. He stumbled forward awkwardly. The finger moved to his elbow, then his shoulder, then his throat. Bruce froze as if turned to stone. IP Man hadn't shifted from his stool. He simply smiled and invited Bruce to try again. Bruce attacked 5 more times with the same result. Each attempt ended with that single finger stopping him cold. After the 6th failure, Bruce dropped to his knees and pleaded to become IP Man's student. His face had gone completely pale. Moy Yat, one of IP Man's most senior disciples, wrote about this in his 2001 book, Wing Chun Trilogy. He explained that Bruce possessed remarkable speed and power even at 14 years old. But speed becomes irrelevant when you lose control of the center line. IP Man's single finger dominated the elbow and shoulder alignment. Once that structure breaks down, the entire body follows. Bruce's punches never reached their target because his foundation crumbled before his fist traveled even 6 inches. It looked supernatural, but it was simply applied physics. IP Chun, IP Man's eldest son, who was 28 at the time, recounted the incident in a 2018 documentary. His father didn't wish to humiliate the young man, so he held back significantly. One finger placed on the chest area was sufficient. Bruce's own forward momentum worked against him. Bruce later confessed that punching his teacher felt like striking a wall that shifted half an inch and sent him tumbling off a cliff. IP Man observed that Bruce possessed tremendous fire but lacked grounding. Fire without proper foundation burns out quickly. This wasn't an isolated incident. For the next 5 years, every private training session followed the same pattern. Bruce would unleash explosive combinations. IP Man would deflect with minimal movement, frequently using only his index finger. Jesse Glover, Bruce's first student in Seattle, stated plainly in 1990 that Bruce admitted losing to IP Man every single time during sticky hands practice, possibly hundreds of consecutive rounds. Bruce said the old master could anticipate your intentions before you even moved. One finger proved more than enough. The technique originated from decades of genuine combat experience on Foshan rooftops during the 1930s and Hong Kong back alleys during the 1940s. Ip Man refined Wing Chun into pure close-quarters combat, with no movement exceeding 12 inches. That famous one-finger technique wasn't designed for eye-poking. It destroyed the opponent's structural framework. Touch the elbow, and the force travels through it, disabling the entire arm. Press forward against the chest or solar plexus, and the spine gives way. Bruce's personal notebooks from 1957 to 1958, currently preserved by the Bruce Lee Foundation, contain sketches of Ip Man's hand with notes describing how one finger equals total collapse, and Bruce admitting he still couldn't master it. By that time, Bruce had already begun modifying things, incorporating boxing footwork and longer kicks. Ip Man never objected. Ip Chun added that his father believed controlling the knee prevents the kick from ever happening. Years later in America, Dan Inosanto noticed a small wooden dummy on Bruce's desk featuring one protruding finger. Bruce tapped it and remarked that the old master remained faster than him. The most convincing evidence emerged in 1967, 5 years before Ip Man passed away. Bruce, then 27 and preparing for the big boss, returned to Hong Kong for a private demonstration. Student Chu Shong Tin secretly filmed 42 seconds on 8mm film. The footage, viewed by only a handful of people before being secured away, shows a frail Ip Man seated. Cancer was already consuming his body. Bruce attacks at full power with side kicks, finger strikes, and hook punches. Each attack gets redirected by that single finger. At the 38-second mark, Ip Man flicks his middle finger into Bruce's solar plexus. Bruce drops to one knee, laughing in disbelief, then bows deeply. The recording ends there. 5 separate masters who witnessed it, including Wong Shun Leung and Ted Wong, all confirmed the same observation. Bruce appeared like a complete beginner. Even Bruce's own words betray his genuine admiration. In a never-published 1971 letter to his friend James Yim Lee, Bruce wrote that he believed he had surpassed the old master. Then he returned in 1967 and discovered Ip Man still controlled him completely with one finger. Bruce realized that speed and power mean nothing without proper foundation. He admitted still chasing Ip Man's shadow. This letter surfaced at a 2022 Hong Kong auction and sold for a substantial amount. Ip Man died on December 2, 1972. Bruce arrived hours too late. According to Ip Chun, Bruce knelt beside the body and whispered that he finally understood the finger technique. 3 months later, Bruce Lee collapsed during a dubbing session and died at 32 years old. The dragon was gone. The quiet grandmaster who never appeared in any film had already won the only fight that truly mattered, and he accomplished it while seated, using just one finger. Students slept on the floor, trained on the rooftop, and paid whatever they could afford. Within 4 years, that rooftop school became the most feared in the colony. Rival masters sent challengers from various styles: Hung Ga, Choi Li Fut, White Crane. None lasted more than a minute. In one famous 1954 incident, a tiger-style master brought a wooden bench as a weapon. Ip Man, 61 years old, wearing bedroom slippers, disarmed him with a single tan sao deflection and ended the fight with one finger to the throat. The bench splintered when the man crashed into it. Police closed the rooftop after too many injuries. By 1957, Ip Man had moved to a proper school on Lee Tat Street, backed by the Restaurant Workers Association. Bruce Lee walked in, and the rest became cinema history. But the real Ip Man never sought fame. He refused all movie offers, turned down American invitations, and lived in a 200-square-foot Yau Ma Tei flat with cracked walls and a single light bulb. Students recall him eating plain rice with soy sauce while teaching until 2 in the morning. He never charged fixed fees. Students left whatever they could in a wooden box. When the box was empty, Ip Man simply smoked more cigarettes and taught anyway. Fighting record remained perfect. In 1960, at age 67, a 30-year-old Thai boxer challenged him to a full-contact match. Ip Man accepted on the condition that no head strikes were allowed, as his cancer was progressing. The fight lasted 90 seconds. The Thai fighter threw roundhouse kicks. Ip Man stepped inside, trapped the leg with one hand, and pressed 2 fingers into the peroneal nerve. The boxer fell hard, yelling in pain, and couldn't stand up for 10 minutes. In 1964, a Japanese karate practitioner wanted a public fight. IP Man was 71, sick and thin, but he stopped him with 3 quick moves: a slap to the arm, a palm to the chest, a finger to the throat. The Japanese man bowed and walked away quietly. Tragedy followed him relentlessly. His wife, Chung Wing, died of cancer in 1960 in mainland China. He was never allowed to go see her. He remarried briefly to a nurse from Shanghai, but she left because they were too poor. By 1970, he looked worn out, smoking 60 cigarettes a day, voice rough like sandpaper, yet his hands still felt strong. In 1972, at 79, weak from cancer treatment and weighing only 95 pounds, he still knocked a tough 25-year-old student down with one finger to the chest in a private video. IP Man died on December 2, 1972, in a small flat in Mongkok with no money. Bruce Lee stopped filming Enter the Dragon, flew back, paid for the funeral, and cried in front of everyone. He never fought in a ring, never held a trophy, never starred in a movie. Still, every major Wing Chun family today, Wong Shun Leung, Leung Xiong, Moy Yat, Victor Kan, Bruce Lee, all started with him. He took a dying style and made it the most widespread kung fu on the planet. His students opened schools in over 60 countries. Donnie Yen's films made him famous long after he was gone. But the real IP Man never chased fame. He just never lost a fight. He chose the difficult path. No money, family kept apart by borders, no interest in becoming a star, smoking himself to death. When he died, he owned 2 suits, 1 wooden dummy, and a name nobody ever tarnished. In the end, the quiet man who never lost gave the world the sharpest gift in martial arts. A system so refined that 1 finger in the right spot was sufficient. Not Bruce Lee, not any challenger, not 50 years later, nobody ever proved him wrong. IP Man never entered a ring, never won a trophy, yet he produced a generation of fighters who changed martial arts forever. From the humid rooftops of 1950s, Hong Kong emerged a handful of men who absorbed the 1-finger secret and took it global. They fought in alleys, on film sets, in police stations, and in challenge matches that ended with broken bones and bowed heads. These were not movie extras. They were the real dragons who proved IP Man's Wing Chun worked against everything thrown at it. What if the deadliest martial arts family tree in history was built by fewer than 20 men who could all stop you with 1 touch? Keep watching to find out. Wong Shun Leung stands at the top. Called Gung Sao Wung, king of challenge fighting, he fought an estimated 60 to 100 no-rules rooftop and peer matches between 1950 and 1958, never losing once. Boxers, karate practitioners, judoka, Muay Thai fighters, he broke them all in seconds. In one famous 1957 fight against a Russian boxer twice his size, Wong trapped the man's jab with 1 hand, stepped in, and ended it with a single chain punch to the chest. The Russian was carried out unconscious. Bruce Lee called him the most realistic fighter he ever saw. Wong taught until his death in 1997, refusing to dilute the art. His students include current grandmasters like Kwang Kam Leung and David Peterson. Leung Xiong, IP Man's very first Hong Kong student, brought discipline and structure. A former police detective, he turned the chaotic rooftop classes into a formal curriculum. His power was legendary. Students say his Tan Sao could lift a 200-pound man off the ground. He became president of the Wing Chun Athletic Association in 1960 and taught thousands before dying in 1978. His lineage remains one of the purest. Lok Yu, the second public student, was the quiet killer. Small, soft-spoken, he once defeated a Choi Lee Phut master in under 10 seconds by collapsing the man's stance with a single bong sao. He taught only a handful of disciples, including his son, Lok Man Ho, who still runs classes in Hong Kong. Leung Xiong and Chu Shong Tin represented opposite poles. Leung was explosive. His punches could crack wooden dummies in half. Chu was the opposite, so relaxed that students said touching his arm felt like pushing water. Both became living proof that Wing Chun could be hard or soft and still lethal. Chu's Siu Nim Tao nickname came from his ability to generate devastating power from total stillness. Moy Yat took the art to America, opening his New York school in 1973. He produced fighters like Sonny Tang and taught Hollywood stars. His books and paintings of IP Man are collector's items today. Hawkins, Chung, Bruce Lee's childhood sparring partner, spent decades correcting myths. In countless interviews, he repeated that Bruce was fast, but Wong Shun Leung was faster in real fighting. IP Man was faster than both without trying. William Chung, Bruce's private training partner, claims he learned a secret traditional Wing Chun from IP Man that Bruce never fully received. His system emphasizes a narrow stance and lightning bridging. Love him or hate him, his students dominate Australian full-contact tournaments. Leung Ting turned Wing Chun into a global empire. Founding the International Wing Chun Association in 1976, he has over 2,500 schools in more than 60 countries, by far the largest Wing Chun organization ever. Critics call it commercialized. Supporters point out that millions now train because of him. Duncan Leung fought real battles. A former Marine and bodyguard, he once disarmed a knife-wielding attacker in a New York street using only pak sao and a finger jab to the throat. He taught U.S. Special Forces and FBI agents. Lo Man Cam, IP Man's nephew, brought the art to Taiwan and Germany. At 87, he still demonstrates one-finger deflection that makes grown men stumble backward. Even IP Man's sons carried the flame. IP Chun, born 1924, and IP Ching, 1936 to 2020, taught quietly for decades. IP Chun, now 101, still corrects students' elbow position with the same gentle precision his father used. Collectively, these men and their disciples opened over 10,000 schools worldwide. Every major Wing Chun lineage in Hong Kong, Vietnam, Europe, Australia, and North America flows from IP Man's tiny flat. They fought boxers, kickboxers, wrestlers, and each other, and the art never lost credibility in real combat. Wong Shun Leung's challenge record alone would make most fighters retire undefeated. Bruce Lee remains the most famous branch, but even he admitted in private letters that Wong Shun Leung and the old guard were more realistic than him in actual fighting. The one-finger legacy lived on in every student who could collapse a punch before it left the shoulder, redirect a kick with a wrist turn, or end a fight before the opponent realized he was touched. Today, when you see a Wing Chun practitioner redirect force with minimal motion, you're watching IP Man's ghost pass hand-to-hand through men who never needed movies to prove they were lethal. They simply never lost. Will a 70-year-old grandmaster who could stop the fastest man alive with one finger ever get the respect he deserved while he was still breathing? Or will IP Man stay forever in Bruce Lee's shadow? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. Also, click on the next video displayed on your screen.